The mystery of the self. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You open your eyes. You recognize your bedroom. You remember your name, your family, your childhood, and every moment that brought you here. Nothing feels different. Everything seems exactly as it was the night before. But the real answer is far stranger. What if the person opening those eyes isn't actually the same person who went to sleep? Not physically, not biologically, but philosophically. It sounds like the beginning of science fiction. Yet this single question has puzzled humanity for more than 2,000 years. Long before telescopes revealed distant galaxies, long before microscopes exposed invisible worlds, long before brain scanners mapped the activity inside your skull. Some of history's greatest thinkers kept returning to one mystery: not the universe, not time, not even God. You. Every day you experience being yourself so naturally that it feels impossible to question. You think, you remember, you choose, you dream, you suffer, you celebrate. Every experience feels as though it belongs to one continuous person. The same you who learned to walk is supposedly the same you reading these words now. But is that actually true? Or is your sense of identity one of the greatest illusions your brain has ever created? For thousands of years, humanity has searched for extraordinary mysteries in the skies above. Ancient civilizations mapped the stars. Explorers crossed oceans searching for lands nobody had ever seen. Scientists built machines capable of detecting particles smaller than atoms. Astronomers photographed galaxies whose light began traveling toward Earth billions of years before humans existed. Every generation expanded the map of the universe. Yet despite all of that progress, the greatest mystery remains astonishingly close. It is happening inside your own mind, right now. Before you continue listening, stop for a moment. Notice your thoughts. Notice the voice silently reading these sentences. Where exactly is it coming from? Who is listening? If someone asked you where your liver is, you could point to it. If someone asked where your heart is, you could answer immediately. But where is your mind? Is it inside your brain? Is it spread throughout your body? Is it simply the electrical activity of billions of neurons? Or is it something science still cannot explain? The strange thing about consciousness is that it is the only thing you have ever directly experienced. Everything else comes second. You have never seen the outside world directly. Your eyes detect light. Your ears detect vibrations. Your skin detects pressure. Your nose detects chemicals floating through the air. Your tongue detects molecules dissolved in food. Your brain receives all of these signals and constructs a model of reality. You never experience reality itself. You only experience your brain's interpretation of it. Imagine wearing a virtual reality headset so advanced that it perfectly simulates the real world. Every sight, every sound, every sensation, everything feels completely real. If the simulation were perfect, how would you ever discover the difference? This isn't merely science fiction. It is remarkably similar to how your brain already works. The colors you see do not exist outside your mind. Light itself has no color. It is simply electromagnetic radiation traveling through space. Your brain transforms different wavelengths into red, blue, green, and every other color you experience. Sound is no different. Outside your head, there is only air vibrating at different frequencies. Inside your head, those vibrations become music, laughter, thunder, and the voices of people you love. Taste, smell, pain, warmth, cold. Every sensation you have ever known exists as a construction inside your nervous system. Your brain is not passively observing reality, it is actively creating your experience of it. That realization raises an uncomfortable question. If your brain constructs everything you experience, what exactly is experiencing the construction? Scientists understand enormous amounts about the brain. The average human brain weighs around 3 pounds. It contains roughly 86 billion neurons. Each neuron forms thousands of connections with neighboring cells. Altogether, your brain contains hundreds of trillions of connections. Electrical signals race through these networks at astonishing speeds. They regulate breathing, control movement, store memories, recognize faces, generate language, predict danger, plan the future. Every second, countless chemical reactions and electrical impulses unfold inside your skull without your awareness. Yet somehow, from this immense biological machine emerges something entirely different: the feeling of being you. No scientist has ever opened a human brain and found a memory sitting inside like a photograph. Nobody has discovered happiness hiding behind the frontal lobe. Nobody has located sadness under a microscope. There is no tiny observer sitting behind your eyes watching a screen, and yet your inner experience feels undeniably real. This puzzle became so important that philosopher David Chalmers gave it a name: the hard problem of consciousness. Science can explain how neurons communicate. It can explain how vision works, how hearing works, how memory forms, how muscles move. These are difficult questions, but they are questions that can, at least in principle, be answered through biology and physics. The hard problem asks something entirely different. Why should any of those physical processes create subjective experience at all? Why doesn't your brain simply process information like a computer? Why does seeing a sunset actually feel like something? Why does music move you emotionally? Why does pain hurt instead of merely sending information? No equation has ever explained that leap. Imagine building the most advanced robot ever created. It walks, talks, learns, falls in love, writes novels, creates paintings, laughs at jokes, cries during movies. It insists that it is conscious. Would it actually experience anything, or would it simply behave exactly as though it did? Now, reverse the question. How do you know anyone else is conscious? You assume they are. They smile when happy, cry when hurt, talk about dreams, describe emotions, but you never directly experience another person's consciousness. You only experience your own. Every conversation you've ever had, every friendship, every historical figure, every person who has ever lived exists outside the only consciousness you can ever truly verify. That is a strange place to begin understanding reality. Because before you can understand the universe, you first have to understand the one thing experiencing it. And that turns out to be far more difficult than anyone expected. For thousands of years, philosophers tried to answer a question that still refuses to disappear. If you strip away everything that can change, what remains? Your body changes constantly. Most of the atoms inside you today were not part of your body a decade ago. Your skin replaces itself. Your blood renews itself. Even many of the connections inside your brain are continuously being reshaped by experience. Biologically, you are less permanent than you imagine. Yet, despite this endless change, you still wake up believing you are the same person you were yesterday. Why? One of the earliest philosophers to wrestle with this mystery was the Greek thinker Heraclitus. More than 2,500 years ago, he made a simple observation: you can never step into the same river twice. At first, the statement sounds obvious. The water is constantly flowing. The river is never exactly the same. But then Heraclitus asked a far stranger question. If everything is always changing, how can anything truly remain itself? The river changes, its water changes, its banks slowly erode, even its path eventually shifts, yet people continue calling it the same river. Now replace the river with yourself. Every cell in your body changes. Your memories grow. Your personality evolves. Your opinions shift. Your fears disappear, and new ones take their place. The child you once were would barely recognize the adult you have become. So, what exactly stayed the same? Is there some permanent you hidden beneath all of that change? Or is continuity itself an illusion? Centuries later, another philosopher pushed this question even further. His name was John Locke. Rather than focusing on the body, Locke believed personal identity depended on memory. According to his theory, what makes you the same person over time is your ability to remember your past experiences. Your memories connect every version of yourself into one continuous story. It feels convincing. After all, without memory, your life would seem to fall apart. But the idea quickly runs into problems. You probably remember very little from your first 2 years of life. Does that mean the toddler who learned to walk wasn't really you? Every night while you sleep, hours pass without conscious awareness. Do you stop existing until morning? People with severe amnesia sometimes lose decades of memories. Friends become strangers. Entire chapters of life disappear. Yet most people would still say they remain the same individual. Memory seems important, but it doesn't fully solve the mystery. Then philosophy introduced one of its most famous thought experiments. Imagine an old wooden ship. Every few years, one damaged plank is replaced with a new one. Eventually, every original plank has been removed. Not a single piece of the original ship remains. Is it still the same ship? This puzzle became known as the Ship of Theseus. For centuries, it appeared to be little more than an interesting paradox. Then scientists realized something remarkable. The human body faces almost exactly the same problem. Your cells are constantly dying and being replaced. Proteins break down, bones rebuild themselves. Even the neural connections that store your memories change throughout your life. If every physical part of you is gradually replaced, what makes you believe you are still the original? The Ship of Theseus is no longer about an ancient boat. It is about you, and the deeper you think about it, the stranger it becomes. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for daily shorts and hit the bell.